it's an awkward feeling after a game like that. You don't know what to feel or to say or to think.
It's like winning is what we do, and we didn't do that, so it kind of feels like a loss.
Like, we're not here to have ties. We're winners. That's what we want to do. If you're not winning, you are losing.
Hats off to them. They might look at it as a win, but we look at it as a loss.
And yesterday's tie in Cleveland marked the first tie in the NFL since 2016 and the Steelers' first tie since 2002. So how are you supposed to feel about this? As you heard from Coach Tomlin and the players, everyone's pretty much counting it as a loss. Show of hands here on the desk with Bob Labriola and Tunch Ilkin. Does it feel like a loss?
Yes. As I said it at the end of the game, I said at the beginning of the radio show this morning, the Steelers should have won. The Browns could have won. They got a tie, and it felt like a loss for the Steelers, and it felt like a victory for the Cleveland Browns. And I don't know what a loss feels like because 14 years in the NFL, 5 years in college.
What a tie feels like.
Yeah, what a tie feels like. I never had a tie. Not in college, NFL. I don't even think I had a tie in high school.
In your closet.
Yeah, I got one. It's from the 70s. It's Paisley.
All right, so what does a tie mean, Labs? That's why we brought you here today to help it figure out for us mathematically challenged Tunch and I.
I'm glad I have a purpose. It may have felt like a loss for the Steelers fans, the coaches, the whole organization, but mathematically, it is not a loss. Before 1972, the NFL, in determining its records, win percentage for its teams, it did not count ties at all. Ties did not exist. But starting in 1972, the league redesigned the way that it calculates these things, and now a tie is considered a half of a win and a half of a loss. So if you look at the standings, the current NFL standings on NFL.com, ESPN.com, Steelers.com, CBSSports.com, all of them, you look at the AFC North, you'll see the Steelers and the Browns both 0-1, and they're listed as 500 teams. And so that's how it's calculated. It's kind of, I hate to use baseball analogies, but if you understand how baseball standings are kept and referred to, you'll often hear someone say about two teams, one is 2 games behind in the loss column. Well, that's the critical element in football as well. A 10-6 team is behind a 10-5-1 team because of the numbers in the loss column. So when you're looking at how the tie might impact standings as we move on down the season, don't look so much at the win total, but the loss total. And as long as the Steelers continue to have fewer losses than another team that they may be trying to catch or that might be behind them, the tie is actually a help.
All right, I'm sure we're going to get much more into this as the season goes on, and it's going to matter.
You can ask me about it, as we go on, as we continue on. But right now, to me, the most telling thing is if you look at the standings, the Steelers and the Browns are both listed as 500 teams, even though they each only played 1 game. That's how a tie is now recorded in the NFL.
All right, Tunch, just initial thoughts. We're going to get into chalk talk in just a little bit and some more specifics. But
they started the game like I thought they should. I talked about it on my 3 keys to the game. You got to, because of all the hoopla, the hype that's surrounding the Cleveland Browns, you got to jump on them fast and put your foot on their throat. Because you can't give them hope. There's all this hope in Cleveland. The fans were great. I mean, they were just cheering their team on. They were loud. And so you have to take the crowd out of the game. You have to take them out of the game. You have to get them to start thinking like, okay, same old Browns. This is what we do when we play against the Pittsburgh Steelers. The fact that they allowed them back in the game, to me, that was tough. Now, there are a number of things that I liked. I liked the way the defense played. I loved the way James Conner played. I saw a little rust on Ben, on AB. Their kind of their chemistry together. I saw that rust. And, that's the way the National Football League is today. You don't play guys because you're afraid that they're going to get hurt. And I understand, you got salary cap issues. And in our day, they'd cut you. If you got hurt, they didn't care. Open up a new can of offensive tackles. I understand it. But it stifles the growth process in camp So you saw what you saw. In part, the rain was part of it, but I really believe that, you don't get a chance to work with your guys, the first team guys, enough. And so the development suffers.
I know that it's always, whenever you ask a coach or players, what was the key to the game or what's going to be the key to the game, inevitably one of the first things that comes up is turnovers. 6 turnovers, -5 in turnover ratio. I don't know what the statistic is in terms of how often, what percentage, a team that does that can win a game, but it's got to be just about 0. And so that to me was the key issue. I mean, you cannot go, Tunch, the way you explained it with words is you don't want to give them hope.
Right.
Well, what you're talking about statistically is you can't help them with turnovers.
Right.
And the Steelers did not protect the ball very well. I thought that Ben held on to it too long in some instances. Other instances, the interceptions were not his fault. The ball went right through Jesse James's hands on one. You can't have that kind of stuff against this kind of a team because, as you mentioned, then they start to believe. So to me, I understand that it's not very a sexy analysis or anything, but they lost because they turned the ball over 6 times and only managed to have 1 takeaway.
Well, Labs, you make a great point. You look at the 3 picks. The first pick, Ben was trying to force it into AB. He had triple coverage around him. They were playing zone. They were off the ball, and they had a triangle around him. The second pick, Ben throws a post pattern to the middle of the field to the goalpost, but AB runs a post pattern that's a far post, so he's already at the hash marks when Ben cut it loose. And so that was the one that Demarius Randall picked off. The other one, Denzel Ward jumped the one route to AB, and then also there was the setup by Jesse James. You don't usually see Jesse James miss a ball like that, and that turns into a pick. And then there were the fumbles. Twice Ben got stripped. One time it was a bad snap. He should have just ate it, but he was trying to make a play, and I understand that because when Ben makes a play like that, we all go, "Wow, great job, Ben." And then there was the Myles Garrett strip on James Conner halfway through the 4th quarter. This is when it started to fall apart. He's coming off from the backside, and he just gets his hand in there. And you know what? When you play a Greg Williams defense, you know that they like to strip the ball. You know that they love to get after the quarterback, and they're going to try to get the strip sack. You know that when they have a pick or a takeaway, they're going to try to take it to the house. They have a really good transition game. And we witnessed it yesterday.
And what you witnessed just there was a fumble out of the end zone that should have been a touchback.
Right.
But
that's what I call it.
That's a whole other issue.
Yeah.
All right, a lot to get to on today's show. We're going to take a quick break. When we return, we're going to talk more about James Conner on this week's edition of Chalk Talk. All right, there was so much buzz surrounding James Conner getting his first start in the NFL. No Le'Veon Bell. We're going to move past that and talk about number 30, Tunch. Almost 200 yards from scrimmage, 2 touchdowns, that 1 fumble we talked about. But take us through the good stuff that he did.
Well, this is his first touchdown, Missi, and I've moved on. I'm ready. So this is counter 30. This is 34 trap. And what you're going to see is you can see a down block right here. You're going to see a down block right here to the nose tackle. Marquise Pouncey is going to come back to the defensive end. Watch how Ramon pulls out, and he's going to lead up. He's going to kick out Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett is now over here. Played most of the game over here, and this is going to be a great. Now the key is watch Derek Kennard. He should be there to make the play. But Ben does such a great job of acting like he's still got the ball. He follows Ben instead of the running back coming right here. So let's go ahead and take a look at it. The snap of the ball. Nice down block right there by Marcus Gilbert. Great down block right here by David Castro. Great double team, a squeeze and a back block by Marquise Pouncey. And then we're going to start running here. Great kick out. Look at that. That's a great kick out. He knocked he loosened up his sinuses a little bit. That's what it did. All right, so this play right here is counter 35 straight. Now, when you're going to watch this one, this is going to look very, very basic. Hat on a hat, hat on a hat, hat on a hat, hat on a hat, and a turnout block and a lead up here. But what we're going to see, it is much more intricate, and we'll look at it on the end zone film. Now, great cutback by James Conner, but I want you to know that was a design cutback because we used to call this counting 35 straight. So this is going to be what we call a D gap. They're going to double him, and Marcus Gilbert's going to come out here. And here you're going to watch Chooks turn out on the defensive end, and he's going to area from the defensive end to Jabril Peppers, who is the strong safety. You're going to see a squeeze right here. This is what we used to call a D seal, and then Pounce is going to come up and block Schobert, the middle linebacker. Here's Jamie Collins. And here's Al is going to kick out on Myles Garrett. But watch the way James takes a counter step there because he's going to make it look like 34 straight. Rosie's going to come in here and get a great block also on Schonert. Now watch the way this thing works out. That's a squeeze. And here he's coming on, I should say, not Schonert, but on Jamie Collins. Now notice everybody has got their hat on this side. So they're playing to the play side, but this is a counter. And so great job by Rosie Nix. And there goes James Conner. Now he's off to the races. If you watched him all day, James was always falling forward. And what I love about James Conner is he can run over you, he can run past you, and he can juke you. All right, now this play is counter 35 lead. This time it's going to be David Castro. Now this looks like counter 35 trap, but the difference is going to be normally on trap, it is the guard that kicks out the outside guy, and then the fullback leads up. This is just the opposite. We're going to take a look at it here and see how it looks. Great job. Nice block there. Nice block there. Lead up. Now now he is once again off to the races, man. When he gets a crack, he is taking it to the house. Let's watch it this way right here. Now you're going to see a down block here. Now watch one Marquise Pouncey. He is going to block back, but before he does, he's going to put his hand on the nose tackle to help Ramon. That's kind of a steady, and then he's going to come back. Watch how he comes back and he gets the block. You're going to get a double here. And watch the way he pulls out and leads up on Schonert. Good block by Xavier Grimble on here too. Let's take a look at it in real time. And the snap is made. Great. Look at the way this down block comes. And great block by Rosie Nix on Jamie Collins, the outside linebacker. And then watch once again the way. Great job by David DeCastro. He's going to dig him out. He's low, and Schonert usually plays real low, but he digs him out. And once again, there you go. James Conner, second touchdown of his career, second touchdown of the day. You got to be happy for the way he played. Not only the way he ran the ball, the way he picked up blitzes. He did a nice job blocking, and he also did a good job coming out of the backfield and catching the ball.
All right, Tunch, thanks so much for this edition of Chalk Talk. Another quick break. When we return, we're going to talk about the Steelers' defense.
The kick is on its way. It's blocked! And the Steelers come up big with a special teams play as they get through there and block this 43-yard field goal. And the Steelers with 9 seconds left in overtime facing a tie that could have been a loss, but it could have been a win.
And quite a day for outside linebacker T.J. Watt. Besides blocking a potentially game-winning field goal, he also had 11 tackles and 4 sacks. And guys, last year at the same time to kick off opening weekend in the NFL against Cleveland, T.J. had 6 tackles, 2 sacks, and interceptions. So something about opening weekend that just really agrees with him.
You know, maybe it's the Ohio factor. I know he's from Wisconsin. He's from Milwaukee.
What does that have to do?
Well, you know,
the aroma coming off
Cleveland
the lake.
is on a great lake. Milwaukee is on Lake Michigan. Cleveland's on Lake Erie. They're connected, and so maybe we're good. No, but you know what? I think
I'm going with the stadium mustard on the
yeah.
hot
All right.
dogs.
I'm thinking that what I really enjoyed is how Bud and TJ both responded to switching sides. They both seemed very, very comfortable on their new side. And so I don't know if there's any merit to that, but it seemed to me that both guys, I mean, you talked about the 11 tackles, man. And for someone who didn't play in camp at all, TJ just was outstanding, and he did a great job. The one thing you love about TJ Watt is he is relentless. Field goal, what a play that sealed the tie for the Steelers, and it was I just was really encouraged by him. The other guy that I was really encouraged by is John Bostic and also Vince Williams. I've been telling you guys all along that I think those two guys play really well in tandem together. Well, I saw it with the 12 tackles by Vince, the 9 tackles by Bostic. Bostic had a sack, and both those guys, Bostic does a great job of feeling the play and cheats to the side where he thinks it's going to. I don't know why a lot of the media was giving Bostic a hard time through training camp labs. I didn't see it. I saw a really good player just getting comfortable with the new defense.
All right, Labs, what about the Steelers secondary? I feel like they were facing a lot of pressure coming off of that playoff loss against Jacksonville and just so many of the issues that they dealt with at the end of last season.
Yeah, I mean, I thought the defense as a whole performed pretty well. The secondary was part of that, certainly. It would have been nice had, Sean Davis had one interception nullified by a penalty. If he could have come down with that other interception on the pass he ended up breaking up, I think that might have sealed the outcome. But when I looked at the way the Steelers defense played, what impressed me the most was how the unit performed in what coaches call sudden change situations, which is after turnovers. We talked about the 6 turnovers. What the Browns did with the 6 turnovers was they punted 3 times. They had another 2-play series where they lost 14 yards, and then the half happened. They had a blocked field goal, and then the only really takeaway that they capitalized on was the one that Jabril Peppers ran down to the 1-yard line before he fumbled the ball out of bounds in the end zone, and it should have been a touchback. So for the Steelers defense to respond to those kinds of situations in a way that really, in my mind, kept the Browns off the scoreboard, I think was really a good sign moving forward.
And the other thing, Missi, I love the way the Mike Hilton jumped some routes. You saw Terrell Edmonds, break up a play. You saw Cam Sutton, with the exception of the big play that he gave up, but he made that pick, and he also played really, really good coverage. And the back end was really good. And we saw a lot of that 3-safety nickel where Morgan Burnett played the other linebacker opposite Vince Williams. And so, I think this defense is going to be pretty good.
So not hitting the panic button just yet?
No.
After a tie?
I'm not panicking at all. It's a half a game, as
Right.
Labs pointed out there.
It's a half a win.
It's a half a win. It's a half a
Whichever way you
loss.
want to look at it,
You
right?
know what? What was bad about that tie was the way everybody felt after it.
That was good.
Yeah, that's right.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, but from Mike Tomlin to the players, they're going, I don't know how to feel about this. I don't know.
It's awkward.
Should I be happy? Should I be sad? And I thought that Vince Williams summed it up best. He said, "We're about winning. We're winners, and if we're not winning, we're losing." So he put that in perspective, and that's the way everybody here feels like. Now, it's only half a game, but it feels like a loss.
All right, well, that is going to do it for this edition of Steelers Live. Don't forget Coach Tomlin's press conference tomorrow at noon. You can catch that here on Steelers.com, and we'll be back tomorrow at 4 p.m. Thanks for joining us.